On this edition of Eye on the Storm, we've got Craig Doherty, the assistant track and field coach here at the University of Rio Grande, to discuss the River States Conference Championship meet. And we'll also talk about our 4th annual Champions of Character celebration. That's all coming up next here on Eye on the Storm. It is the April edition of Eye on the Storm. I'm Randy Payton, the Sports Information Director here at the University of Rio Grande, joined as always by Athletic Director Jeff Lanham. We come down the stretch run of this 2017-18 academic and athletic year, and a busy, busy time for us.
It is, and we always talk about that, Randy. It is busy, and I mean that's kind of our second nature that we've got going. But I love that quote of time flies when you're having fun, because it just seemed like we started this in the fall, and people are tired this kind of the year. They're ready for a little bit of a break, and we'll keep going. We will keep going. In fact, we'll have athletics through May. We will have people participating through May. So we'll still keep after it.
It is championship time across the River States Conference. Golf just finishing up. Softball and baseball getting ready to start this weekend. Our track and field team will be up in Pittsburgh for the River States Conference meet. And as we said, we're joined today by track and field assistant coach Craig Doherty. It has been a very successful season for Rio Grande track. And Craig, as we bring you in, it's really a situation as you guys go into that meet up in Pittsburgh on Friday. Big things are expected out of the Red Storm.
Yeah, so the men and women's teams have both won the conference the last 3 years. So those other teams are ready to take us down.
You got a target on, don't you?
Yeah, we have a target on our back for sure. And we're going to do our best to try to keep that championship trophy at Rio Grande.
All kinds of records have been broken this year. That's the thing that one would think is the most encouraging. And not only on particularly for one team, men's and women's both, we've seen different records go this year.
Yeah, we've had multiple records broken, as well as multiple national standards hit. So far, we already have 4 men and 4 women qualified for the national meet next month in Alabama. So it's been a very exciting season.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just talking about those individuals that have qualified. Where's that meet going to be held?
That meet is in Gulf Shores, Alabama, and it's the 24th and 25th of May.
So it's like Memorial Weekend.
Memorial Weekend, yeah.
It is. Yeah. So this Friday, you're going to be in Pittsburgh. Where is the event held in Pittsburgh?
It's held at Robert Morris University. Point Park's hosting it, but at Robert Morris.
This is the second year.
Second year in a row, yes.
What's the facility like?
It's a nice facility. It's on an island up there, but they're able to have all the events right there at the track. Sometimes track facilities will have the throws off somewhere.
Right.
So it's a nice facility to have everything right there for everybody to see what's going on.
It's going to be warm and sunny, 75.
Last I checked, I saw about 63 and cloudy, which
okay.
For what we've been getting this year is actually pretty nice.
And those sprinters would rather have it a little warmer.
A little warmer, but like I said, they're going to be happy with that, with what we've had so far this year. So.
Kind of talk about some of the kids in particular who we need to look for this week. I know we've got a shot of Katie Browning from back in the indoor season at the high jump. She has hit the A mark in pole vault. And is actually back-to-back winners of the River States Conference Female Outdoor Field Athlete of the Week award, but she's kind of leading the charge, I guess, at least on the women's side, her and Tiana Petty-Crack.
Right. Katie's been having a very good year. She already had the school record since maybe her freshman or sophomore year in the pole vault, and she just keeps upping it each week now. She has hit the A standard in the pole vault and is currently ranked 4th in the NAIA. But like you saw there, she's in the high jump in that picture at the indoor conference. So this week we'll have athletes doing events that they're not always doing. So usually she's just a pole vaulter, maybe runs the 100 or long jumps occasionally. But this week she'll be in about 5 events, stepping up to try to help us win the conference meet this Friday. You mentioned Tiana Petty-Craft as well. She's hit the A standard in the high jump, and she's currently leading the Penn relays in the heptathlon right now.
She's there now.
They start day 2 in about an hour, and she's leading that right now.
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's like the meet in the nation right now going on.
It's one of the big ones, yeah.
Yes, that's great.
What about on the men's side? I know throughout the course of the year, the sprinters have done really well. Guys like Xavier Parker and Tellis Horn and Sterling Smith, and those are guys, Clinton Campbell.
Yeah, so all those names you've mentioned there, they've all gone under 11 seconds in the 100 meter this year. And according to Coach Willie, he believes that might be the first time that 4 men have ever in one season gone under the 11-second mark. So we're expecting big things out of them. Xavier represented us at the indoor nationals in the 200 meter. So far, Tellis Horn has hit the B standard in the 200, and he is 100th off in the 100, which is kind of a repeat of the indoor season, as he missed the 60 and the 200 each by 100th of a second to hit the marks for that. So we're glad he's already hit the B standard in the 2.
Count, don't they? Yeah.
So he's also tied the decade-old 100-meter record by Josh Perry here.
Right.
Ran 10:72 a couple weeks ago. So we're hoping to get that one off the board as well as a couple of the others here.
So you will take these, just talking about the meet on Friday, take these sprinters basically, and you've talked about this, that they will play different, or they will participate in different events, and that's the challenge as coaches, to get those people placed in the right events to score the most points. And you guys have done a pretty good job of that the last 3 years. Mm-hmm. And so what's the strategy behind that?
So basically each week I've kept a spreadsheet, and each week I just go through each team in the conference and I update the best performance by each individual in each event. And then this whole Sunday we kind of sat down and looked at that, looked at our people, where they ranked in each event, and we thought, all right, is it worth risking putting them in this? If they're ranked 8th, they need to get top 6 to place, or would it be better to put them in this weaker event, even though they don't necessarily do it all the time? And we just kind of worked the puzzle there to see where the maximum amount of points come.
And what's interesting about track is that you're always competing against yourself. I mean, every time you're out there, you're competing against yourself and that clock and that time. But, you know, it's not, you know, a basketball game, the basketball has to go in that hoop for you to win, and sometimes it doesn't happen. And here, you can kind of predict, you know, coming in, that we've got a pretty good shot. And yeah, things can change a little bit, but unless they're hurt, unless they're injured, you know, maybe even environment and those kind of things are all going to take a factor. But it's still, that's the kind of unique thing about track, is that you have a pretty good idea going in. You know, potentially that you could, we call that a 4-peat? Is that what we call that?
Sounds good.
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it just is a, you know, that strategy that you have to do that's pretty exciting, I think.
Yeah, especially like you said, you kind of focus on yourself. So all year we allow the athletes to just focus in on their events and try to hit those standards like we've been doing throughout the year. And then this is the one where we ask them to do more.
Right.
And that's where the strategy comes in a little bit, where the rest of the year, the rest of the season, we're just focusing on 1 or 2 events, right, as opposed to 4 to 5.
So Craig, what you coach the sprinters?
Yeah, I work with the sprinters, and then along with my graduate assistant Floyd Lowry, we'll work with the hurdlers and a little bit with the jumpers as well.
Okay, all right. So give us real quick here before you got to go with the with your background, where you went to undergrad, and so go ahead.
I graduated from Walsh University in 2015.
Who used to be in our conference. We used to be in the conference together with Walsh, many moons ago.
While I was there, they transitioned from the NAIA to NCAA Division II. That was happening my sophomore, junior year there.
So you competed against? Did you compete against Rio?
I had a couple events, I believe. They had one conference meet while I was there with NAIA schools. There was about 5 left in there in the AMC, and then
We'd had probably already left the AMC at that time. Yeah. Okay.
So there was about 5 schools still left in that. My first year at Walsh, and then like I said, we transitioned to NCAA Division II, and we're part of the GLIAC there, which is probably one of the, if not the strongest division or conference in Division II.
Right.
So that was quite the transition there, having just a few left in our NAIA conference to go into the powerhouse with the GLIAC there.
So, but that's a good foundation for you, preparing you for what you're doing now.
Yeah, I got to see a lot of talent there, as well as seeing what it takes in order to compete in a conference like that. So we all had to step up, and that pushed us to become a lot better. I went from being the fastest 400 runner to the next year I was the 4th, maybe 5th fastest on my team. So that pushed me to have to become better just to be on the 4x4 relay team at Walsh. We ended up breaking the school record, hitting what the NCAA calls the provisional mark, where NAI has the B standard, and then placed 3rd at the GLIAC Conference Championships my senior year. So we went a long way.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you joining us today, and wish you guys the best of luck this weekend. And if you don't do anything else, make sure that you beat Point Park.
That is the ultimate goal here.
I knew that would.
Ohio Christian on the women's side are the ones that are going to be pushing us this weekend. So
Again, good luck this week.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, that's Craig Doherty, the assistant track and field coach here at the University of Rio Grande, as they get ready for their conference championship meet this weekend up in Pittsburgh. We turn our attention now to our other spring sports. We start off with softball. The Red Storm ladies 30-11, and if you go by the points in the latest rankings, they're 26th nationally, and got a young lady, it's a senior pitcher in Mallory Powell, who has been a 2-time pitcher of the week. I think we've got a photo of her. Yep, there she is. As a matter of fact, from last Saturday, and then win over Point Park. She has won back-to-back Pitcher of the Week awards. Michaela Kreiner 2 weeks ago, Player of the Week. Jeff, they continue to play well, and particularly the lady that we're looking at right there in Mallory Powell. She has really turned it on as her senior season heads into the home stretch.
Well, Mallory came in as she's also playing first base, so she's doing both. She plays every day, and even when she's pitching, she's going to hit as well. She has kind of waited her turn because she came in behind 2 pretty good pitchers in Jenna Jones and Kelsey Conkey, 2 pretty good ones. And so she's kind of waited her turn, and she has taken advantage of this, definitely. And it's great to have if you would call her a number 2 pitcher, but she may be our number 1 right now. She's as good as anybody we've got right now. And people are seeing that. I saw her play all through high school, and I knew that she was had potential to do that. She's done a very nice job of stepping up this time of the year when she needs to do it.
They were actually supposed to close out their regular season schedule, at home schedule, I should say, today against Shawnee State, but wet conditions, imagine that. And we aren't playing softball today. We move on to baseball. The Red Storm have played really well of late, 4-1 last week. They have gotten themselves now within a game of 500 for the season, 23-24. Got a big win last week against a Division I opponent out of NCAA in Northern Kentucky, and I think we've got a photo from that game as well. Yep, there's Michael Rodriguez putting a tag on one of the Norse players, but that kind of got the week started. Then they go down and win 2 out of 3 against Midway. Find themselves right now half a game back of 3rd place, 1 game under 500. Dylan Shockley is the Player of the Week this week in the River States Conference. A lot of good things going on with Coach Warnemont's team, too, as they head into their stretch.
I think that we said this at least a month ago, if not 2 months ago, when we were talking about baseball, and they had a very rough start.
Correct.
I mean, they were really, but it's because they go down, and I think I think I saw this. 17 of their 24 losses are against ranked teams. So it's not like Brad has backed down the schedule and all. They're playing very good teams, and most of those teams are teams from the South who don't have a delay. They don't have, you know, we would go down and sometimes first time we're being outside and trying to play a game. So we've said this before, that Coach Warnemont does a fantastic job of getting those kids ready for when it really is counting, and now is when they're peaking, and it seems like that's what's happening now. So if I'm in the River States Conference, I don't want to draw Rio Grande in that first game or in the tournament, because they are capable of beating anybody in our conference, and it's whoever gets playing hot right now, and that's happened years after year after year. It's pretty common for Brad.
They're both on the road, baseball and softball, this week at Brescia to finish out their respective regular season schedules. Softball will get into tournament play May 4th and 5th up at Jackson Park in Vienna, West Virginia. Baseball May 3 through 6 at VA Memorial Stadium up in Chillicothe, and we wish both of those programs best of luck as they head into their conference tournaments. Golf just wrapped up yesterday. As a matter of fact, on the men's side, the ladies wrapped up the week before. Rio finishing at the bottom of the women's tournament, near the bottom of the men's tournament. But again, first-year program, and particularly on the women's side, the late start in the hiring of the coach kind of struggled a little bit in terms of the recruiting process, and we actually had 3 ladies from other programs who stepped up and allowed us to field a team in the conference tournament. That was Hannah Hawley from softball and Jimmy Howe from basketball, and I think Rachel Barber from track and field. But you got through year number 1, and now it's up to Coach Wilson to build on it and continue to make it grow.
It is, and that's so true about the recruiting process. Women's golf, recruiting for women's golfers is there's not very many available, and everybody's looking for those. And so he's done a nice job already of, we should be 5 or 6 women next year and ready to go. We've got a couple returning from this year's team, one that's not eligible that will be eligible next year. So it really turns out that I think it's going to really have a big turnaround between this year and next year. So he's bringing in some really good golfers, and it'd be fun. It'd be fun to watch how that program grows.
We also want to point out Lynn Collins, who is a graduate assistant men's basketball coach. He did the same thing on the men's side and helped them field a complete team for the tournament. And I guess we could take a shot at him and say he held everybody else up in the final standings, but he took one for the team. Literally.
He did, and so did the gals. Our 3 ladies, student athletes, who really helped out. I mean, that's over and above what they're trying to do, and it was good. I think Lynn enjoyed. The weather for the women were, oh my goodness, I think it was just. They had to delay because there was snow on the ground. That's tough to play golf when that kind of condition.
Yes, it is.
And then we had rain with the men the last couple of days. Like you said, hard to believe that we had anything that was wet. So again, he's bringing in some additional golfers, and we will again have some who were not eligible this year that are going to be around and be ready to go again next year. And this was the first time all these golfers had ever played in a college tournament. So, you play 27 holes on one day, 27 on the next, and most they've ever played as a competition. High school, most of their meets were 9 holes. They did have an occasional 18 when you went to the district, but most of them are 9 holes. So it's a big difference when you're talking about 2 days of golf, trying to get that in.
In our final minutes of the program, we want to talk about our 4th annual Champions of Character celebration. It took place on Sunday night over at the Fine Arts Building, and just a great evening where all of the programs, all of the student athletes come together, and coaches get up and talk, and there you see some of them in the crowd from the other night. They get up and they talk about their individual programs and their award winners. And just a great evening of, I guess, fellowship there.
Well, it is, and You know, I referred to that at the beginning about the last time we met as a group was our first meeting that we do in the fall, and this is kind of the ending of those meetings at the end of the year. It's just a wonderful thing to be able to give out these awards, to be able to talk about our student athletes, not only what they've done on the field or the court, but what they've done in the classroom, and you know, just the idea to be able to honor them.
You talk about giving out awards. There you see a photo of David Smalley winning the Newt Oliver Coach of the Year award. I think the shot before that was Cameron Herring, who's a member of the Rio baseball team, who won the Emily Cooper Warrior Award. Again, the chance to honor folks. These seniors are are on their way out, and there you see assistant volleyball coach Sarah Rawls presenting, what are those things called? I've already forgot.
Sash.
A sash for
Yes.
the student athletes who will be walking during graduation ceremony. It's just a great night.
It is, and that's something we started that tradition a few years ago. Part of it was I'm sitting at graduation and watching student athletes walk across the stage, and I'm marking it off on my program in front of me. That's a student, and nobody else knew. Nobody really knew how many student athletes we had walking. So we came up with this sash and got something designed, and this was the way of presenting it.
Right.
Each coach comes in and it's kind of their last thing that they do for those people who are graduating before they leave. And so they take those sashes, they wear them with their gowns at graduation day, and kind of lets everybody see. I think we have a total of 45 student athletes walking and graduating this year, which is tremendous. It's a tremendous number.
Kind of a quick curveball here, it just dawned on me. Some of these seniors who would be graduating will be gone at conference tournament time when the actual ceremony takes place. So we're having, what are we calling it, a road graduation?
Road trip graduation.
Road trip graduation. That'll take place on the 30th?
The 30th, Monday the 30th, at 7 o'clock in Line Center. Everybody's welcome to come to that. And it's a fun time. Our thought on that was, because of their sport, we did not want to ask them to make a decision. Do you want to go to graduation, or do you want to go play in a conference tournament? That's not a good position to be in. So what we did last year, we came up and decided that we'll just have a small graduation ceremony for our athletes who are unable to attend because of an event sponsored by the university. So we call it the road trip graduation because they're going to be on a road trip and not going to be here. It's basically baseball and softball players this year, and we've got a total of 10 that we're going to be doing on Monday night. It's a fun time. We've got deans that are going to be there to help present the awards, or present the. They're going to get their the same it would be on May the 5th. So they'll get their name called. They'll walk across the stage. Dr. Johnson will be there, and she will present them with their degrees, and we will do everything's the same as if it was on May the 5th. Well, we're just going to have a few little different kind of musics, and our people up on the stage will be a little different than the people on the stage on May the 5th, but it'll be a fun time.
A couple of things here in our final couple of minutes. Athlete of the Year finalists announced on the men's side: Will Hill, Dylan Shockley, Eduardo Zarita. On the women's side, Kelsey Conkey, Alexis Payne, Tiana Pettycraft. We'll have those winners for you on our next show. One last thing, hometown teams, how sports shape America. Rio Night on Thursday, May the 11th from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Highlands Museum in Ashland. Big night on tap.
I think it's May the 10th. I think Thursday's May the 10th.
You are that's right. Thursday, May the 10th, not the 11th, from 5 to 8.
And it's a pretty neat. It's a traveling exhibition from the Smithsonian in Washington D.C. and the museum, Highland Museum in Ashland, is hosting this, and they've invited people from the community to come in to bring your heroes. So they invited us, and we took Bevo information down. It's going to have an exhibit, and then that is Rio Night on May the 10th. So we want to invite everybody to come down, and it'll be it's a pretty amazing museum.
I guess it's actually the Rio part of it is one of 2 or 3 or 4 different exhibits. It's,
right.
Yeah.
Many people in the surrounding area have taken things in extra than what the exhibit has from the Smithsonian.
Well, that again takes place on Thursday, May the 10th, from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Highlands Museum down in Ashland, Kentucky. We invite you to check it out. We are out of time for this April edition of Eye on the Storm. We appreciate you taking part, and we look forward to talking with you with the May edition of Eye on the Storm. For Craig Doherty and for Jeff Lanham, Randy Payton saying so long, and we'll see you next time on Eye on the Storm.